Good morning. Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty. Over 7,000 COVID-19 positive migrants have been released by the federal government since February in one border town in Texas alone. Think about that for a minute. 1,500 last week alone. Joining us now to talk more about this is retired Texas Department of Public Safety Captain Jaeson Jones. Jaeson, good morning. Nice to see you again. Hope you had a good weekend. The numbers, they're shocking. I'd like to start, though, with Republicans in the House. They're apparently filing articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. They're going to do that, they say, by next week. I want to know what you make of that, but also think about it on the other side of this. How unprecedented is it that we want now the Director of Homeland Security to be impeached? That's how bad it's gotten at the border.
Yeah. Rob, it's good to be with you this morning. And I'll tell you, I think it's the right call. I do. He is going to go down in history as the worst DHS secretary in American history. And look, the data supports that. We've had over 1 million people apprehended at the southwest border in the first part of this fiscal year. That's absolutely unacceptable. And it's a direct result of the disastrous and really destabilizing policies of this administration. And he's the man that really enacts these policies down at the ground level. Remember, we talk about the immigration issue all the time. We're talking about COVID right now. But let's also remember, we've got a major fentanyl issue across this country, but we also have a major change as the cartels have gone from human smuggling to human trafficking. All of those are a direct result of the secretary's policies, and it needs to happen. And I've been calling for it for some time now.
You've got some exclusive video for us this morning of a debris field left over from migrant crossings. This goes back to the end of last week. Tell us about these wristbands. We've seen this looks like a scene at a Coachella at the end of the concert, but these wristbands are basically how they process these people and get them across the border. A lot of them are numbered, very bizarrely. What are we looking at here?
No, absolutely. And look, I've got some for you here from that exact location. So that is in Roma, Texas. That's just inside Starr County. And Friday night, over 500 people crossed that border just at that one area. And it began at midnight. It began sending 80 at a time. Cartel de Gafos, known as CDG, directly to Border Patrol agents, sending family units. And then from there, upriver and downriver, they sent runners because as the tactics unfolded and as the agents were surging towards these people, then the cartel was sending these single males and single females up and down the river. But I want to show you these things because, Rob, I don't think Americans realize what we're going through right now. This is from the Mexican cartel, what you are seeing. This is how they traffic people as a commodity. If you're a Mexican citizen, they charge $2,500. If you're a Central American, $3,000. So what they're doing is they're putting these on their wrists. And I don't know if you can see this or not very well, but it's also numbered.
Right.
And on the back, you can see a name on here. And that is directly linked and assigned to an individual. So here's what's happening. The cartel puts these on these folks. They cross into the U.S. and immediately they break them. Now, they don't break them if they're on children. And this is what you're seeing right here. This is what they literally put on children so that when they cross, even the children have to, their parents have to pay for that. But you don't have to break them because they're so small, you can just slide them off their wrists. I've seen these on a 23-day-old child on that border. So this is what's unfolding. And then from there, these are broken. You can see the debris field there where they leave these on the ground. And now for the first time in American history, we have these folks throughout our country because our government is moving them into the nation under an act of compassion. But yet, for the first time, they are indebted to a criminal organization in a foreign country while here legally, whether we agree with it or not. That's the current policy under the Biden administration. It's a real mess.
That's a nice way for these kids to start their lives, isn't it? A 23-day-old child indebted to a drug cartel. I didn't realize that. So $3,000, that's the going rate to get a kid across the border?
If you're Central American. Now, if you're Chinese, it's $5,000. If you are Russian or you're Middle Eastern, it's $9,000.
Wow. That's
just to cross, Rob, at the water. Now, let's go back to 2014. The average cost was $100 a person. They didn't care where you came from. And that's the real change from human smuggling into human trafficking, because what I'm showing you physically that the cartels are now doing to people is debt bondage. It's the final form of trafficking. I think most Americans are familiar with the sex industry and that part of human trafficking, but this is the new and final form of it. And this is why I've been absolutely saying to the federal government. And specifically, we've got to hold these leaders accountable. So going back to your original question about Secretary Mayorkas, this is the right decision. He needs to be removed from his position.
Let me ask you about that. We've got about 30 seconds left. And by the way, so people might be familiar with maybe the sex industry, but I don't think anyone is familiar with the nuance. And that's what you're bringing us here when it comes to the crisis at the southern border. So this has been going on now since January 20th, the day that Joe Biden took the oath of office. We know what they're doing, but what do you think is the end game here when it comes to because I know Alejandro Mayorkas, who might be impeached, he's taken orders from the man where the buck stops, and that's in the Oval Office at Joe Biden's desk. What is the end game here? How does this play out, or does this go on until 2024?
Yeah, there is no end in sight right now. I've been talking to Border Patrol agents down on the ground, and I can tell you right now they're averaging 50,000 apprehensions at your southwest border every week. Every week.
Wow.
So the numbers are still climbing. Rob, the numbers should be coming down right now because of the heat wave. The normal migration numbers around August begin to really drop down. We're not seeing that at all.
Yeah.
So agents are even being told by their supervisors, get ready, this is going to continue a while. And just one last thing. That's just the immigration layer. Never mind fentanyl and never mind human trafficking.
Right.
So, with every surge, we see something different. In this one, we're seeing those three components right now at unprecedented levels.
Jaeson Jones, good stuff as always. Good to see you again. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Good to be with you. Thanks for having me.